Every once in a while, something comes along that is perfect in every conceivable manner. The Ferrari F50 wasn't this, but its juiced up brother, the F50 GT, was. It was brilliant, dangerous, a bit mad, and utterly wasted, because just as it was about to slap the smug off the McLaren F1 GTR's face, the powers that be at the FIA got nervous, changed the rules, and suddenly Ferrari was left holding a loaded weapon with no battlefield. So what exactly was the Ferrari F50 GT? Well, in short, it was a road-going supercar that had been tortured, starved, bulked up, stripped down, and force-fed a diet of racing fuel and Formula 1 engineering until it became a GT1 predator. Think of it as what happens when Ferrari gets offended, deeply, personally offended, that another manufacturer might be winning too many headlines. You see, back in the mid-1990s, the McLaren F1 GTR was on an absolute tear. It wasn't just winning races, it was demolishing them. Endurance races, sprints, you name it. Ferrari had initially shown up to the BPR Global GT series with the F40 GTE, which was fast in its own right, but against the McLaren it was kinda like your uncle trying to chase down Usain Bolt. So, in true Italian fashion, they threw a tantrum, slammed a few doors, and decided to start fresh. And when Ferrari starts fresh, what you get is usually either a piece of rolling art or a tool of war. The F50 GT was, in my opinion, a bit of both. But to understand how insane the F50 GT is, you first need to understand what they started with, which was the Ferrari F50. This was already a car that Ferrari claimed was as close to a Formula 1 car for the road as you could get. It was built around a carbon fiber tub, had a naturally aspirated 4.7 litre V12 directly derived from the 1990 Ferrari 641 F1 car, and it looked like a supermodel with anger issues. Now that engine, the Tipo F130B, was already making a frankly absurd 512 horsepower in the road car, but Ferrari wasn't playing anymore. They handed the project over to Dallara and Maigalotti, because if you want something turned into a track day tyrant, you get the Italians who specialize in motorsport violence. And so the V12 was opened up and reworked until it belted out a shrieking 740 horsepower and could rev to 11,000 RPM. 11,000! That's not a red line, that's a battle cry. And scream it did. Just take a listen. Now that motor was mated to a sequential version of the F50's 6-speed gearbox. No H-pattern faffing about here. The F50 GT wasn't designed to be driven, it was designed to be raced. Then the suspension was completely overhauled. Racing brakes the size of dustbin lids were installed. The bodywork got more slats, scoops and ducts than a 747, and the whole thing looked like it had been carved out of rage. And it was light, properly light, stripped of all creature comforts, no aircon, no carpet, no stereo, not even a second seat. So if you were hoping to impress your missus, this isn't the car for you. But thanks to all of that, the F50 GT weighed just 900 kilograms. That's less than a Ford Fiesta, which meant a power to weight ratio better than pretty much anything else on the planet. But here's where it gets truly absurd. Ferrari's 333 SP was their purpose-built sports prototype for endurance racing. It was lighter, more aggressive, more focused than anything GT based. But when Ferrari's own test driver, Nicola Larini, took the F50 GT around Fiorano, he went faster in the GT1 car than in the prototype. In other words, the Frankenstein supercar made out of road car bones, and F1 Fury had outpaced a purebred Le Mans style racer. Yes, as I said, this thing is mad. Anyways, this is where the story goes from bonkers to tragic. You see, Ferrari had lined up buyers and factory support through teams like Scandia Racing, Momo Corsa and Ferrari Club Italia. There were plans, there was excitement, there was a huge hand-stitched red Italian rug of victory being rolled out, and then the FIA came along and yanked it out from under their feet. You see, in the 1996 off-season, the FIA absorbed the BPR Global GT Series, rebranded it the FIA GT Championship, and promptly rewrote the rulebook. GT1, they decided, needed to be more exciting, not by letting Ferrari loose with a monster like the F50 GT, but by allowing cars that were basically prototypes masquerading as production vehicles, as long as 25 road-going examples were built. This opened the door for the Porsche 911 GT1, which was basically a full-on Le Mans prototype with headlights, and the Mercedes CLK GTR, which had about as much in common with the CLK road car as a pigeon does with a Concorde. The Ferrari, which was still very much based on an actual road car, was suddenly an antique. Ferrari understandably said no thank you. They weren't going to redesign the car, they weren't going to play politics, they just packed it all up and went home. Because of this, only 3 Ferrari F50 GTs were ever completed. The remaining chassis were either destroyed or scattered into component parts. But what was really lost? Well, the car never raced, it never stood on a podium, it never even got the chance to tangle with the very rivals it was created to destroy. But that hasn't stopped the F50 GT from becoming a legend in its own right. It's one of the rarest Ferraris ever built, a unicorn even by Ferrari standards. When it does appear, usually at some absurdly expensive track event or concourse, where grown men weep openly, it is a spectacle. The sound alone is enough to strip paint off walls and frighten livestock. It doesn't scream, it howls. And for all of its unrealized potential, the F50 GT represents something even more tantalizing than victory. What could have been? It's the last gasp of a Ferrari that still believed in the romanticism of road to race evolution. Before carbon fiber tops became common, before balance of performance neutered half of the field, before racing became as much about data streams and simulation models as bravery and engineering. In a way, the F50 GT was always destined to be an outlier. It came from a company that occasionally built cars not to satisfy customers but to satisfy its own ego. It's a car that exists simply because Ferrari was pissed off. And that, ironically, may be why it never got to do what it was meant to do. But maybe that's part of the allure. It's not burdened by results or reliability concerns or mid-race retirements. It was never compromised. It's a pure expression of what Ferrari wanted to do when they thought no one was watching. And what they built for a brief, blinding moment was a car capable of terrifying the very best. So, the Ferrari F50 GT is a ghost, a V12 screaming carbon fiber ghost, and even now, more than 30 years later, it still haunts the world of motorsports. But at the end of this video, please let me know what you guys think of the Ferrari F50 GT. I think it's obvious that I like it, but let me know what's your opinion down below. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you guys did like this video, you'll most probably enjoy most of my other stuff. So just go through my channel, see if there's someone else to like. I'll check you guys in the next one. Cheers,